So let's get straight to Lagos, where Bismarck Rwani, the Chief Executive Officer at Financial Derivatives Company, is joining us will expect to joining us via Skype. We'll connecting to him to join us within the hour to give us his thoughts, in particular on the outlook of what the next MPC will decide. Yesterday, we showed you what some analysts are thinking. They were expecting a July interest rate cut by the new MPC. Will that happen in July? Will it be May? We don't know when the next meeting will take place. But as soon as those meetings take place, we'll be able to have an idea, but want to have forward thinking. When do we expect this rate cut? And if another hike will happen simultaneously within the same fiscal year before December, looking at the electioneering period ahead of us. But back to the market very closely. What happened on Thursday? The NSE over-the-counter market, this was in the negative territory, while the Nigerian Stock Exchange made some gentle gain. 0.43% was the haircut we saw on the unlisted securities index of the National Association of Securities Dealers over-the-counter market. That's what the NSE OTC market stands for. 656.61 reading. We've lost the 600 level, and that index is dropping. The market cap, that's the total value of the unlisted securities on that market, shed some weight Thursday, finished off 444.34 billion naira. And if you look at the volume, if you flip that page over, you'll see that the volume was significantly lower than midweek. Midweek were sort of about more than 1 million unlisted shares traded. Yesterday was just 52,145. And of course, the naira value of that was sitting around 2.65 million naira in 11 transactions. Now let's take a look at where we have the fixed income space in terms of the FMDQ, OTC Securities Exchange. Of course, you heard earlier, that's where one of the locations for the new green bond on Tuesday, April the 10th. Bring it up, guys. Okay, that's the four most actively traded treasury bills on Thursday. And you can see the November 29, 2018 yield on that treasury at 13.95%. That's quite heavy, about 28.75 billion. But you can see investors looking at what is much in terms of tenor. That gives you the 12th of April. That is the treasury bill maturing next Thursday, and that's 31.5 billion. And you can see the yield 14.3% and 50 transactions. So these are the four most actively traded treasuries. And look at the summary total. And that's the next page you'll be looking at. A massive 205.35 billion naira. Wednesday was a lot much smaller, about 103 billion naira. Investors moved up aggressively on the secondary window, even though the central bank repaid those mature treasuries on Thursday. Then now you're looking at on the screen a summary of the naira paper. That's the FGN bonds in naira. Those are the ones traded via the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange as well. And you can see the four most actively traded. You have one of the four most actively traded, which is a short-term paper, 13th February 2020 maturing. That's about 2.6 billion. For mid-term paper, that's 2027, 17th of March, and two long-dated instruments, 18th July 2034 and 18th of March 2036. That's about the two of the longest dated papers we have in naira on our market. And you can see their price in there. You can see the short-term papers around 103.6, 113.65, and the long-dated papers at double-digit, 19 naira 95 and 92 naira 80 kobo via the FMDQ. What's the summary total? Bring it on. Let's see what it looks like. We're looking at about 15.4 billion naira. That's the summary total for you. Here we go. Okay. But that's quite decent if you ask me. That's 128 transactions. That means investors were quite bullish on the market, on the naira bond. Of course, there's so much liquidity in the system as we speak. we're trying to get a bit of reactions to the MPC meeting that first one for the year has been done. Now we're looking at the second. But if we go back to one of the top stories today, and you need to also focus on this, is the listing of the Nigeria's green bond. We talked about this throughout most of last year and the year before. This is something that the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the entire marketplace has been bringing together over the past months, and now it's become a reality. On Tuesday, Nigeria will become the first sub-Saharan African sovereign to issue a green bond that will be listed on Tuesday on two exchanges, the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange. This flotation is a landmark for Nigeria. It will help the country get into or get more deeper into the community of countries that are now floating bonds. Around the world, it's not been very much, just about 3 or 4 countries actually had a green bond listed, but now Nigeria is joining that particular group, and we'll see history made on Tuesday, and we'll be all over that news. Meantime, when we come back after the break, Owando Nigeria PLC was all in the news. It's not news really, but again, now the company, the energy company, is asking the Nigerian Stock Exchange to reconsider the order given to the exchange last year by the Securities and Exchange Commission to suspend the shares of the energy trading company because the SEC was sending a forensic auditors to look into the books of accounts of Owando. Now the minority shareholders are now complaining, and everyone is looking at the value of this company and whether this technical suspension should remain in place. We are having some of these conversations right after the break. You're watching Business Morning, and we'll be right back into everyone. Stand by, we'll be back, and we will continue that conversation on Owando's technical suspension and the road ahead.